Today on Exploring Scotland's History, we are heading out to Kilbride to see a traditional bronze bell casting. The original bell is thought to have been manufactured in Glasgow in 1786. It was on a ship bound for Maryland in America when the vessel carrying it, like so many others, fell foul of the Sound of Kerra and was wrecked. The story is told of how the bell was salvaged from the seabed and gifted to Kilbride, where it hung from a tree and later within the church. In recent years, it has been kept in Dunollie for safekeeping by the MacDougals.
I'm going to make a copy of it. Demonstration so that we can have that copy and have it here. We waited a long time for it, but it is here now and it's going to be cast. Thank you everyone for coming. This is a very exciting day.
Some people have asked, why are we casting the replica when we've got the original? The reason is we want to have a bell in the newly restored Kilbride Kirk, but with the risk of theft, I'm afraid, of historical artefacts these days, we felt we couldn't have the original bell, so we're going to cast a replica, which was really of no value except for the base metal, which we will have displayed in the ancient kirk, and anybody can see the original on request if they want to. That seems to us the best way of squaring that particular circle. A few words of thanks. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to Tesco's and to Historical Environment Scotland, who have provided the funding for this unique event. Thank you to Innes Munro for his magnificent piping. That was wonderful. And thank you to Clan MacDougall particularly for keeping the bell safe over all these years and for making it available to Kilbride. I'm going to hand over in a minute to 𝕳𝖈𝖔𝖙𝖑𝖆𝖓𝖈, who's going to talk a little bit and tell you about the ancient craft of bronze casting.
I've been casting bronze for 42 years. I've worked in big commercial foundries. I cast in my own garden with the help of 𝕳𝖎𝖑𝖑. There are a lot of people who do something called backyard casting, where you build your own furnaces, melt your own bronze, make your own sculpture. I also worked on very big monumental sculptures as well. Right, so you can hear the torch that's heating up the furnace. It's propane gas. In the old days, they'd have used coke. They'd have had a container with coke in it, with bellows, put an extra heat through, a tall chimney to get the temperature up, container with your metal, and that would be enough, if you know what you're doing, to heat the metal. Now we have propane. That torch is pulling air into that small container I've made, and that's making the temperature hotter. It'll be about 1100 degrees to melt bronze. Iron is about 13 or 14. You need a different process for iron because it needs that extra heat. Aluminium is only about 700. You can almost do it on your kitchen stove. But bronze is much more beautiful. When we pour, it will be a very short moment. Ready when it's ready. I can't hold it back. And bronze is really beautiful when you pour it. It glows with this kind of orange golden colour. I think it actually makes you fall in love. Iron has this very white hot heat that you kind of go, whoa, you're a bit dangerous. And aluminium is a bit dull and boring. This is the original bell here. Someone has engraved it and they've made an iron piece to make a handle. And they've put an iron hoop inside to hang this. And this is iron. Historically, the bell would have been cast in sand. You pack the sand around it in two halves, and you pack sand inside it, open it, take the bell away, close it, pour the bell. Historically in churches, you had bell founders who travelled with all their kit. So we're actually doing quite a historical thing here. And they would go to the churches and cast the bell on site to be hung in the church. Because this bell has got all these bits on it, I can't do a sand cast of it easily and the inscription. So I've done lost wax casting. where you make a wax copy. So on that table is a mould that I took off the bell in rubber and plaster, and then I paint wax into it to make the copy. You see a copy there, and then that is encased in ceramic material. Now when you heat that to cook it, the wax melts away and leaves a gap. And that's what we're going to be pouring the bronze into today. And I will ask Ross or Bryn, can you bring this shell over? So this is what we're going to pour the bronze into. This is hollow. And on your sheets you've got images of it in the wax. And we dip this into a material, a slurry, about 6 times. And each time it got thicker. And then when we cooked it, it melted out the bronze. So when you made the wax, you had to add extra wax to make channels for the bronze to pour down and for the air to escape. And then when we cast this in bronze and it's solid, we will chip off this ceramic and cut off the bits we don't need, and hopefully you will have a lovely replica bell. Metal has got 4 conditions. It's solid, liquid, mushy, I've forgotten the technical term, and gas. So we've turned this metal from solid to mushy to liquid. I looked in about 5 minutes ago and the bar was still sitting there with some liquid around the base. Now when you get your ice cubes and you put them on the table, they melt. If you put them in your gin and tonic, they dissolve. And you know how quickly they dissolve. It's quicker than melting. So bronze, it's melting, and then as soon as you get liquid in the bottom, it dissolves much quicker. So we had a shock how quick that happened. It's now beautifully smooth on the surface and liquid. We're heating up all our tools because any moisture makes steam, which can make the liquid metal shoot out, which looks like an explosion. Roz is heating up the shell mould that we're going to pour the bronze into. So that just to help the bronze run around without setting. We don't want it to get chill. It's a very thin mould. We don't want it to chill before it solidifies. So in a few minutes, it'll go quiet. We open up the furnace, take out the container with the bronze, put it in the stand, and then pour it. No cracks, it hasn't leaked. It could, when you pour it, the shell just might crack and all your liquid metal goes poof, and it's gone. So that's the first hurdle. The next thing is has the metal poured to every part, and we can't check it until it's solidified, and it's got a golden glow at the moment. You can sort of see, actually, can you put the ingot out?
You can see the heat.
You've got mould is more open. So in fact, it's solidified.
Wow.
But you know, it's still incredibly hot. So this is nearly gone that colour. It's nearly solidified. We got it really nice and hot. There's a little bit of separation of your elements there, a little bit of the copper separate, but we want to do that hot. So that's it. I think there are thanks to happen.
So a huge thank you to Irene and Rosie and Bryn for that. I think that's totally unique. I've never seen that done before. No, fantastic. And we wait to see the results. Hopefully we've got a really viable replica of the Kilbride bell. There were a couple of thank yous also that I briefly missed out. Firstly to Oban Hire Sales and Service, whose banner is there, who have very kindly donated us or lent us these safety barriers. So many thanks to them. Thanks to the Hodge family. We tramped across their land and bringing the bell down today, and Charlie Hodge was extremely helpful to us in removing not only the rubble which covered this site until this week, but also the 22.5 tons of rubble which came out of the church, the kirk, when we did the last bit of renovation.